As we all know,
Thank you.
time is allotted at the end of each one of our meetings for the commissioners to receive comments from the public. We have a couple public notices. I'm going to have our attorney, Tom Yeager, read those couple out loud. These are just notices of public hearings.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first one is in regard to Code Home Rule Bill Number 5, 2024, introduced by Ronald H. Fithian, President of the Board of County Commissioners for Kent County, an act concerning Chapter 120, pawnbrokers and secondhand dealers of the Code of Public Local Laws for Kent County, Maryland, for the purpose of clarifying definitions to not include a firearm purchased or sold in a transaction regulated by a federal firearms license, by repealing Chapter 120, pawnbrokers and secondhand dealers, and reenacting with amendments Chapter 120, pawnbrokers and secondhand dealers, Section 120-2 definitions. A hearing will be held on July 30th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the Commissioner's Hearing Room, R. Clayton Mitchell Jr., Kent County Government Center, 400 High Street, Chestertown, Maryland. The agenda for the meeting will be published online 24 hours in advance of the meeting at kentcounty.com/commissioners/meeting-agenda. Citizens are encouraged to participate in the public hearing process. If you require communication assistance, please contact the County Commissioner's Office at 410-778-4600 and press 4, or visit Maryland Relay at mdrelay.org no later than noon on Friday, July 26, 2024. A complete copy of the proposed legislative bill is available in the Commissioner's Office, 400 High Street, Chestertown, Maryland, Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30 p.m., and on the county's website at kentcounty.com/commissioners/draft-legislation. This is by order of the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, Sandra M. Blackiston, Clerk, and this was published in the Kent County News on July 18th, 2024. The second notice is in regard to Code Home Rule Bill 6, number 2024, introduced by Ronald H. Fithian, President of the Board of County Commissioners for Kent County, Maryland, an act to amend Chapter 152, Taxation, Article 7, Clean Energy Loans, Sections 152-30, 152-31, and 152-32 of the Code of Public Local Laws of Kent County, Maryland, for the purpose of defining certain terms, establishing a clean energy loan program for commercial property owners, establishing the scope and eligibility for the clean energy loan program, providing for qualifying criteria, establishing a calculation of the clean energy loan surcharge, providing for a recorded notice, providing for the collection of loan payments, establishing default procedures, providing for financing or refinancing of qualifying projects under the Clean Energy Loan Program, providing for the application of this act, and generally related to the Clean Energy Loan Program and real property taxes as consistent with provisions and the authority of the Annotated Code of Maryland Local Government Article, Section 1-1102. A hearing will be held on July 30th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the Commissioner's Hearing Room, R. Clayton Mitchell Jr., Kent County Government Center, 400 High Street, Chestertown, Maryland. If you require communication assistance, please contact the County Commissioner's Office at 410-778-4600 and press 4, or visit Maryland Relay at mdrelay.org no later than noon on Friday, July 26, 2024. A complete copy of the proposed legislative bill is available in the County Commissioner's Office, 400 High Street, Chestertown, Maryland, Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30, and on the county's website at kentcounty.com/commissioners/draft-legislation. This is by order of the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, Sandra M. Blackiston, Clerk, and it was published in the Kent County News on July 18th of 2024.
Thank you. Now we have 4 consent items we'll handle real quick. First one is our regular session minutes dated July the 16th, 2024. We have our liquor minutes dated July the 16th, 2024. We have a water and wastewater sewer allocation request that is obviously going to be approved because it has no issues, or it wouldn't be on this consent item as one of the consent items. And then we have, under Dennis Hickman, Sheriff of Kent County, we have a grant award and acceptance of the 2025 Body Armor Grant number BARM-2025-0012. So there's no questions. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve all 4 consent items as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes, sir, second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Next, we have a scheduled public hearing, and I'll turn this over to our attorney, Thomas Yeager.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have a pending cable TV franchise application from Talkie Communications, and the process is a multi-step process. The first step was for Talkie to make application to the county. You reviewed their application, they paid the requisite fee, and then you determined that it was in the public interest to go forward with this. That doesn't mean you're granting the franchise, it just means that you felt that it was worthy of consideration in going forward. So the second step is where we are now. We have a public hearing to hear from Talkie and to hear from members of the public with regard to the franchise. And then the third step would be for you to consider and vote on the actual franchise agreement. This is an application for a new franchise because Talkie has not offered cable TV before, but it's similar to a franchise renewal in that Talkie has been in the county for a few years now, and they have built a fiber network. Right now, they're just offering the internet service on that network. A franchise is not required for that, but a franchise is required for cable TV or video services. So Talkie is proposing to add television services to their existing internet service. So much, if not all, the infrastructure is built out. It's just adding this service, and that requires a franchise. So today you would be hearing from Talkie and from anybody in the public, and you have the opportunity to ask questions of Talkie to determine if it's in the best interest of the county to continue to go forward. And then there is an agreement that has been prepared. It is very similar to the agreements that we had for Comcast and for Atlantic Broadband, which is now BreezeLine. So the existing franchise and the proposed franchise would essentially be on very similar terms. There are a few nuances that are different with Talkie because it's a different type of technology than the traditional cable, and they can explain that. I have reviewed the proposed franchise agreement. I've gone back and forth with Talkie's legal counsel, and I'm satisfied that that agreement is acceptable as to form. So if you wish to go forward and adopt that, my recommendation to you, or my opinion, is that that agreement that would be before you at the next step is acceptable as to form. So at this time, we would open up the public hearing, and has anybody signed the testimony log?
And now I will say that at the end of this, we'll give an opportunity to anybody that might have wanted to speak out and forgot to sign the thing. So we'll handle that.
And so I'm going to dispense with reading the formal procedures for testifying, but I would just ask that anybody who is testifying to keep their comments limited to the subject matter of this hearing and stick to the issues at hand. And the chair, if something becomes overly long or not related to the subject matter, the chair would direct the person testifying. So anybody who's going to testify, if you just stand, raise your right hand, please. Yeah. Anybody who may testify. You solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony that you are about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief.
Yes.
Okay. And you're both with Talkie, so you can both come forward at the same time.
said.
Yes. And if each of you could identify yourselves for the record, please.
Okay. Hi, I'm Andre Dematia, one of the owners of Talkie. I'm Andrew Dematia, the other owner. So we are looking to get a franchise agreement to offer, it's actually streaming TV, so it is a newer technology, so it's very similar to the cable. Right now, we have about 85% of Kent County wired up with fiber optics, and we are continuing building out, and this is the next progression to offer other services like TV. So right now, we are challenging the incumbent of Kent County, and we would like to offer TV services. With the franchise agreement, the county gets the franchise tax that comes with that. There's, I believe it's 5%. So this is going to add to the county financially. So that's it.
Very good. And just for clarification, I think I know the answer to this. There'll be no more wiring going in the ground. It's the same wire that you've put in. We'll just provide
Yeah.
TV instead of just the internet.
Yeah,
So
so-
the difference between this product and your traditional cable, which is always a gray line between the franchise agreements, but we're just going to go as traditional cable, is this is really IP-based TV disguised as traditional 1985 cable. So you'll still have the same cable box, like the same look and feel, but it is a streaming platform. So
you get all the
no more
modern-
wires. It goes right on top of the internet.
Yeah, so you get all the modern technology right on top of the fiber optics. So no extra cables.
Very good.
So it's literally a TV box we give you.
So our equivalent would be like a
stick.
glorified Fire Stick would be our set-top box. So there's no coax at all, no copper at all in our whole network. It is literally a wireless connection you put on top of your TV, you hook up your HDMI cable, goes over the internet.
You pull channels off the air, or is everything?
Yes.
So,
Okay.
yeah, there's multiple. Some channels come from satellite dishes, not in Maryland. We're getting it from one of the Fortune 500 companies. And then we are also getting the local channels off the air.
So that is the only way to get locals is from an antenna. I know it's archaic, but that's
the way it works.
That's the way
So
it
you
still
have an
is.
antenna, and that antenna is connected into your fiber system
That's
Yeah.
correct. Well,
to get broadcast
Yep.
channels.
that's correct. We're working with the town of Chestertown to get zoning approved to put a tower up so we can get our antenna.
Any other questions, John?
Are you
Howard?
selling a complete package?
Yeah, so we're going to be offering a triple play, and we just started launched.
Quadruple play.
Well, we just launched cell phone service last week, so we'll have home phone, cell phone service, TV, home security, and fiber optic internet.
So, and the TV platform is a full blown-out traditional cable. It's not a slimmed down like a streaming platform. So we have about 160-plus channels, and then your add-on channels, if you wanted to add on additional
Movie channels.
Movie channels.
So I'm not real familiar with this, but if one of our consumers wanted to just have just the cable for the TV part, is that a possibility, or?
We are still talking about that, because there's really, for business-wise, there's no money on TV. It's just a retention product. Either we're going to offer a standalone product with a non-bundle price, or or not sell it at all.
Because it's a streaming TV platform, it's an Android TV operating system, it needs internet to make the operating system work. So there'll have to be some sort of internet associated with the TV platform, even if it's really, really slow. So we're still coming up with the standalone. Right now, you have to have the internet as well, but we are looking at a standalone option for those who don't need internet.
So it's similar to the home phone today. The home phone is voice over IP. It's digital, just like the TV would be. But we do have home-only phone customers as well without the internet. So will there be the chance that we're going to have a standalone product? It wouldn't be a business sense not to. It just has to be priced accordingly without having the internet. So
It
we're
would
thinking
make-
the answer is yes.
It would make sense to me for anyone interested to
Yeah.
bundle it anyhow. So,
You're right. That's why
uh,
we're leaning towards more yes.
Yeah, okay.
What, you were talking about an antenna, and I'm looking at the map. Would one antenna service the entire county?
So yes, that's correct. So what we do is to get the local channels, Fox, ABC, NBC, et cetera, you have to file a redistribution agreement with those channels, like with Sinclair and those other companies. And once they give you approval, then we can retransmit that. One local antenna, well, it's actually two antennas. So if we get approved, we're going to be putting a 100-foot tower on our property in Chestertown, and that antenna we pointed to Baltimore, and that's how we get our local channels. So each DMA is what it's called. Each location has to have a particular local channel. In this area, it's Baltimore. When you get closer to Wishker and Wacomico, it's Salisbury. So that would have a different antenna over there, and we'd have a different antenna over here.
So to help more is, let's say you get channel, channel 5, whatever that might be. The antenna will pick up channel 5. We get that one stream, we record it, and then we redistribute that stream. So that's why only one antenna is needed, because you're only literally getting one stream, you're storing it, and then redistributing it and rebroadcasting it. That's why we have to pay that license of rebroadcasting because of that.
Any other questions? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
guys.
you. Sign anything?
Anyone, excuse me?
No, you don't have to sign. You're good.
The record will remain open until Friday, close of business.
Anyone in the audience that wants to comment or has any questions, feel free to do so right now. Well, that certainly is simple. Thank you. Then we'll make a motion, entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for the Talkie Communications Incorporated franchise agreement and for the record to remain open until the close of business on Friday, July 26, 2024.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We have a couple proclamations today. The first one is Arvind Singh, Vice President, Strategic Planning and Communications, University of Maryland, Shore Regional Health, entitled Kent County Stroke Smart. Is there someone here you want to come forward? Welcome.
I'm Dr. Rena Sukhdeo Singh. I'm the medical director of our stroke center in Easton, the University of Maryland Shore Regional Health. And this is Nicole Leonard, our stroke coordinator. I'm not sure if you wanted to read the proclamation first, and then we could talk afterwards, whatever you prefer.
However, we can do it either way. How about if we read the proclamation and then you can add to it?
Sure, thank you.
Commissioner Price is going to read the proclamation.
Thank you.
This is a proclamation, Stroke Smart Kent County, Spot a Stroke, Stop a Stroke, Save a Life, July 23rd, 2024. Whereas 1 in 6 people will have a stroke in their lifetime, and 80% of families are affected. Additionally, stroke is the leading cause of long-term disability, and whereas there are life-saving treatments that must be administered within 3 to 4.5 hours once symptoms begin. And only a very small percentage of patients get to the hospital within the treatment window because the majority of people do not know how to spot a stroke or the importance of calling 911 immediately. And whereas the Kent County public and private schools will be encouraged to make Stroke Smart, Spot a Stroke, Stop a Stroke, Save a Life part of their training for all students, faculty, and families. And whereas all the Kent County health and safety focused entities will be urged to participate in improving stroke literacy to educate all its employees, volunteers, and associated communities. And whereas the Kent County community will be encouraged to participate and contribute to the Stroke Smart, Spot a Stroke, Stop a Stroke, Save a Life campaign through active citizenship efforts. And whereas the goal is to educate everyone in Kent County about stroke recognition and the importance of dialing 911 immediately, and thereby be a model for other communities, cities, counties, commonwealths, and states, as well as the nation, thereby advancing the vision of a Stroke Smart America. Now, therefore, we, the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, do hereby proclaim June 23rd. Is that correct?
July 23rd.
The proclamation has June on it, but we'll correct that. It's July 23rd, 2024, to be Stroke Smart Kent County, and call upon the people of Kent County to support making Kent County stroke smart. Signed, the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, Ronald H. Fithian, President, Albert H. Nickerson, Member, John F. Price, Member, July 23rd, 2024. And we will make the edit to this to reflect July instead of June,
Thank you.
okay?
We do have some materials here for you if you wanted to look at them.
You know, I'm very happy that you all are actually working with our school systems and all of the communities. My father suffered a stroke when he was 65, and he became somewhat disabled after that. And I can remember very vividly that when he came to the house, you know, he was also diabetic, so we thought that maybe he was having a low sugar issue, but come to find out he was having a bleed. And he recovered, but not totally.
Right.
And he lived to be 86. But it's important to educate our community and our children and families.
Absolutely.
Commissioner, could I just make a comment, kind of echoing what Commissioner Price said? My father had a stroke at age 73, and he had a series of strokes after that, which he didn't survive. But I think the awareness is so important, because when he had that first stroke, he didn't know what it was or didn't realize what it was, and he waited a full week to get medical attention. And I believe had he had gotten medical attention right away, the outcome may have been different, and he wouldn't have had subsequent strokes. So the awareness is so important, and I thank you for what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Very nice. Thank you.
So our goal with the University of Maryland Shore Regional Health, we are a primary stroke center. Our goal is to really reach all of the counties that we serve and make sure that everybody in the community knows how to spot a stroke and knows what to do about it once they notice the symptoms are happening. So we try to educate our patients, our community, our leaders, our students, our children, how to notice the symptoms of a stroke and know to call 911. And like you said, if your father had known that he was having a stroke, or if a family member knew he was having a stroke, if we had called 911 right away, we could have initiated treatment really quick. And so we want to make sure that everybody is aware of the signs and symptoms of a stroke and knows the importance of calling 911. So we also work very closely with the EMS of all our counties and the community to educate the community and make sure everybody knows the symptoms. It's also imperative that everyone knows that this is a time-sensitive issue. If a patient arrives within 3 to 4.5 hours of the symptoms starting, we can actually treat that stroke if it's a clot in the brain. There are ways to treat that stroke. And we also work very closely with the University of Maryland in Baltimore, the medical center, to try to reverse strokes and even do surgical procedures to remove a clot from the brain. And so our goal here is really to just educate, empower people to know the signs and symptoms of a stroke so that we can spot a stroke and stop a stroke.
Yes, yeah, thank you. My name is Nicole Leonard. I'm the stroke coordinator for University of Maryland Shore Regional Health. And really just to add to what Dr. Sukhdev Singh said, our goal with this, of course, we are a primary stroke center, like she said, at Easton. Within Shore Regional Health, though, we do work very closely, even with the hospital here in Chestertown, with same protocols that we follow, and also with Kent County EMS. And we have a lot of treatment options that we're able to offer, but the most important thing is that if someone notices those symptoms, that they do call 911 and get to the hospital so that we can do what we need to do as quickly as possible if those treatment options are an option for them. So we think that, this proclamation will help with the partnership with the county to help get education to as many places as we can. So we just really appreciate the support and the partnership.
Thank you very much, and if you would join us, we'd love to have a picture
I
of,
have one additional question.
hope so.
is there it was 20-some years ago when my father had his issue. And at the time, they wanted to give him the medicine to
Break the clot.
take, right. But he was afraid to take the medicine because you could also bleed out as a result of that. Have they advanced or improved
Yes.
what they can do now as far as saying, yeah, you're a candidate for this treatment or you're not?
Absolutely. We have new technology. Well, we have improved technology. We have improved imaging technology, CT scans, CT perfusion imaging, MRIs. And with this imaging, we can look at where a clot is, and we can tell if that person is a candidate to have the clot busting medication. And it is a time-sensitive matter. So if a patient has symptoms that start right away and they arrive to the hospital within 4.5 hours, and if they are a candidate to get the clot buster, it would be a great idea to get that clot buster. It could really decrease the amount of disability that person has or that patient has long-term.
And maybe I missed it in your presentation, but real quick, can you just name off the things that people should be aware of?
Sure. We have an acronym called BFAST, so BEFAST. And these are all acute symptoms, acute onset of symptoms. So the B stands for balance, a sudden change in balance or sudden dizziness. The E stands for eyes or vision, a sudden change in vision. The F stands for face, drooping of the face or numbness and tingling on one side of the face. The A stands for arm or leg, so sudden weakness in the arm or leg or numbness and tingling of the arm and leg. The S stands for speech, so slurred speech, can't get your words out, confused speech, this kind of messed up speech. And then T is for time to call 911. Be fast.
Very good.
Very important.
Thank you.
I too have a story, real quick. I had a niece about 10 years ago who was playing soccer. She was like 13, and she was in Easton, and her grandmother was supposed to be there. Well, her grandmother didn't show up, and so she just knew something. Anyhow, they tried calling everybody, but she was at her house, and we had a friend of ours go there, and she was just starting to have a stroke. But, I mean, my niece, just knowing that my mom wasn't there, knew something was off. So and I'm sure the coaches were thinking, hush, kid, she'll be fine, But she was pretty persistent, so.
About that.
Very good.
About that. So you'll join us for a picture?
Absolutely, thank you. We also have Tisha Thompson, she's the director of our ED here with us.
Bring whoever you'd like.
Yes, absolutely, thank you.
We'll bring anybody to add some beauty to this picture.
Would you be able to take one of my phones?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank
I'd
you
be
so
happy
much.
to. I'll start with your phone
So it doesn't go dark on me. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you. And next we have Ms. Jillian Coleman, Director of Parks and Recreation, and a designation of July as Parks and Recreation Month. Welcome, Jill.
Well, good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Yeah, July is Parks and Recreation Month, and I feel like this is a great opportunity to appreciate and acknowledge the critical contributions of our Parks and Rec Department, which also includes Department of Public Works. These individuals work tirelessly to provide programs, sports, and events. Their dedication fosters a healthier, happier, and more connected community. These individuals not only work daytime hours, they work evening hours, weekend hours. They do whatever it takes in order to cover all of our programs and events that we have. They also, in between doing all that, they make me look good as a director of Parks and Recreation, and I certainly do appreciate them for all of their hard work. So we're here today in honor of Parks and Recreation Month for the county commissioners to issue a formal proclamation recognizing the invaluable services and commitment of the Parks and Recreation staff. This proclamation serves as a testament to their hard work and the positive impact they have on the community. They're probably not going to appreciate this at this time, but I'd like them to come up individually and introduce themselves to you and tell them what their actual job title is and what they do for us at Parks and Rec.
Faces.
I told them they didn't have to do no public speaking, but I didn't tell them they didn't have to introduce themselves. Team?
Jill, before you start too, let me say that we appreciate that because we have turnover and stuff, and we've got a couple hundred employees. Sometimes things change. So it's always good to put a face to a name and to know. So I appreciate you doing that.
Absolutely.
So they may not.
They may.
They may not, but I do.
And I'm honored here today that I actually have my full team. So this is all of our full-time staff that actually work behind the scenes at Kent County Parks and Rec. So,
Very good.
ladies,
Someone has to start. We have two for
Hi,
the
I'm
price of
Haley
one.
Walbert, and I am the Administrative Specialist #1 at Parks and Rec.
Good
The
morning.
two for
Good
one
morning to
special.
you.
Haley.
Sandy Adams, Parks and Rec Administrative
I
Specialist.
think we know that face.
Hi, I'm Sean Morgan, Program Coordinator for Parks and Rec.
Very nice.
Hi, I'm Jessica Plum, I'm a Program Coordinator for Parks and Rec.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Marva Kumpf, and I'm the Deputy Director for Parks and Rec.
Very good.
Hi, I'm Heidi Haggis, and I am a facility monitor.
Very nice.
Hi, I am Tara Short, and I'm also a facility monitor.
Very good. All right, well, we're going to read this proclamation. And let's- Yes,
Before Commissioner Nickerson reads the proclamation, I just want to echo what your director said this morning. Since I've been in this position, which has been about 2 years now, I have received numerous comments from the community of Kent County commenting on how nice the parks look, how well the programs are run. You truly are doing a great job for our community. And it doesn't go unrecognized. I know I'm probably speaking for all three of us actually, but you guys are doing a great job and the community recognizes it. And we certainly do appreciate it.
for sure. And Jill, when we get done this, if you could hang around, I want to, when we get done with the picture and stuff, I want to talk to you about, I was at the park yesterday and I can't tell you how nice it looked. I was there yesterday looking at something, and I want to discuss it a little bit further when we get done with this program.
So I'm going to read, I also echo those comments, and I've had very similar conversations with members of the guests of this community, just people who come in, and when they go to these places, they're, wherever they're from, they said, we don't have anything like this. And I just said, well, shame on you, we do. So you guys are doing a great job. Thank you.
And the community center, I mean, the park is beautiful, obviously, this time of year, it's very well kept, but the community center, it's amazing that, I don't know how old that place is now. I should know, because we were there when we cut the ribbon, but it looks like it's brand new, and it's so well kept. The inside, everybody does a great job in maintaining that facility. And I'm like Albert, I've taken people that live in Washington, Alexandria, Virginia, a couple people I know, took them out and showed them that community center, and they just, for little Kent County, they couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It's just a great setup. Serves the county so well.
Absolutely.
So Albert, without any other interruptions, go ahead and read it.
something? I'm good. Parks and Recreation Month, July. Whereas, Parks and Recreation is an integral part of communities throughout this country, including Kent County. And whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks. And whereas Parks and Recreation promotes time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive cognitive performance and well-being. And whereas Parks and Recreation program and education activities such as out-of-school time programming, youth sports, environmental education are critical to childhood development. And whereas Parks and Recreation increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of business, and the crime reduction. And whereas Parks and Recreation is fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community, and whereas parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas Kent County recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources, now, therefore, we, the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, do hereby proclaim July 2024 as Parks and Recreation Month in Kent County. Signed, the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, Ronald H. Fithian, President, Albert H. Nickerson, Member, and John F. Price, Member. Thank you, ladies.
I know, exactly. The intern. Thank you.
Jill, if you don't mind, I want to speak,
Oh, is this about parks or?
the park.
Here. Sure. Oh, yeah, right there.
I was there at the park yesterday, and we were looking at the two volleyball nets, or the area there that I guess are volleyball nets.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been involved with this beach tennis. We've had it at the beach, and I think they've had a couple competitions or something there for that beach tennis.
Yeah, so we've done a free demo night on Friday evenings, and then on Saturday have just conducted their own little tournament there, but yes.
And then I understand it, and I attended the first one they had down there last year, the year before or something. They had a tournament down there, and I know it's a very, very fast-growing sport. I understand Washington College has just had a couple new courts put in.
Correct.
We have some courts or areas that we use down to the beach when it's needed. But there's been a request made of taking those two volleyball, where those two volleyball areas are, and putting 4 courts in there that would be designed just like the ones they have at Washington College, and they would take those in other words, what they did, it was explained to me that they dig it out, they dig about 12 or 15 inches of dirt out of the ground, they put so much gravel in the bottom of it, then there's some type of fabric, and then they put about 9 inches of sand on top of it, and you have real courts. And the poles that they will use to put the nets on are adjustable, and they can be used for volleyball, or you can put them at the level that's needed for this beach tennis. There's a foundation that is willing to pay for the construction of these courts. Now, they did ask that if there was something that maybe county roads could help with, there's going to be a lot of dirt that's going to have to be dug out to put those 4 courts in there, dug out and hauled away. If we could maybe help with some dump trucks or something to help haul that away. But the cost is going to be about right around $80,000 to construct these 4 courts out there. But this foundation is willing to pay for the entire cost and work with us if we would help work with them, maybe using some of our dump trucks, as I stated, to haul that away. So they've got a contractor all lined up, and what they need from us is permission from the commissioners to allow this to go forward. And I wanted to, when I brought it, this is the first I've had a chance to talk to my colleagues about it, but I wanted to make sure you were here to hear it and get your opinion on this. So,
My opinion from a recreational part of it, I think it's a wonderful idea, especially if we can adjust the nets to have it for volleyball and for beach tennis. Only because we have recently, within the last 2 years, we have started a beach volleyball co-ed league for kids 8 to 14. And it's becoming very popular each year. So we want to make sure that we could still maintain that league and give them what they need, along with also assisting and helping beach tennis. So if that's the possibility, and we can definitely do that, and adjust the net, adjust the court so that they're still the same length. Personally, from a recreation point, I'm all for it.
Do you run the beach tennis too, or is that a private vendor that does the beach tennis?
So we partner with them in the Friday night demo to get more people interested in it, and then Saturday, they actually run the tournament themselves. So kind of like a, I scratch your back, you scratch mine type thing. We give they work Friday night kind of like free and do the demo for us. And then we give them the beach space on Saturday free in order to run.
That's something we've historically done with vendors, other vendors and stuff, that type?
It just depends on, and it just depends on what the sport is. If it's a sport that's we're trying to establish, we kind of do that just to kind of get it established and get it, promoted within the county.
and I think the one reason that they obviously like this area, because if they do have a large crowd that's going to participate in these events, we've got all the parking necessary.
Right.
We're down to the beach sometimes. That can be a little troubling and tough. But anyhow, the idea was brought to me. I've got there's a contract here but I thought, first of all, we have to get the approval of the Board of Commissioners to move forward with it, and I wanted to hear your opinion of it. But then we would let the people that are promoting this, let their contractor and Public Works get together and see just what Public Works could help with, but the rest of it will be paid entirely by this foundation. Gentlemen, you have?
Do we currently have enough space there for 4 courts?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And as far as reoccurring maintenance, as far as maybe putting a new layer of sand, is that a big deal, or?
Yeah, that's something you can speak on that I think you put in your
At some
budget.
point, I'll be able to
Yeah.
speak on that.
Sorry, I think it is something that Department of Public Works will put in their
Yeah.
budget each year.
Yeah.
Okay.
To make sure that, they get, sand put on it, just kind of like the ball fields.
But I will say that
Yeah,
when I was
just
there
part of
yesterday,
maintenance.
it didn't look as if the volleyball, these courts would be constructed to last for a long time with digging that dirt. I mean, these are just basically some sand, I think, placed over top of the ground, it looks like to me. But these would be dug out.
Right.
There's some kind of a fiber that goes in there to keep these courts looking good.
And they have a designated contractor that they're working with that they would engage? Okay.
That is already, they built this contractor is the one that built the ones at Washington College.
Okay,
And
I've seen that.
so if we get, if the commissioners decide to allow this to take place, then I'll give you this and you can get in touch with the people that are putting it together and you can work out all the details. But from my understanding is this foundation will pay for the construction of these courts and they were hoping that public, county roads maybe could help with some immaterial stuff like hauling dirt and things. But they're willing to pay for all the material.
Okay.
I would recommend that if you move forward today, that the motion be something to the effect of exploration of building the courts, and that way we have an opportunity to look at the contracts, make sure we're following procurement, et cetera, and bring back a full package for your review.
We have comments from,
Is procurement really gonna be an issue when we got somebody that says they're gonna totally fund it?
It's still going through, I'm assuming, is it a grant?
It's a foundation that's paying for this project.
Would the funding come through the county? I mean, would they grant it to us and then we pay?
Probably they're dealing directly with, I don't think it would come through the county. I think it would go, it's between the foundation and the contractor.
Okay.
Would there be something in place just that we typically have in our contracts as far as, because they're working on our grounds and our land to make sure that we're insured and all those things are done and that there's performance bond or whatever is typical for similar contracts, so in case something goes wrong, we're not stuck. I'm not saying something is, but they're typical things that we have standard in our contracts.
That's correct, yes.
They're not the foundation, but that's who's.
And I wanted to speak up for a moment because on a couple items mentioned, the construction, Commissioner Fithian mentioned, excavation, placement of stone and a liner of fabric, that would significantly limit future maintenance work. We would see much lower frequency of like weeding and things that is needed. So that's a great method of construction. I would recommend that, Public Works coordinates with the contractor ahead of any formal signature of contract to make sure we can add the greatest value we can and limit costs where available. And to the question on long-term maintenance, in this year's budget, a line was added in Public Works, both for volleyball court sand and playground-specific mulch. So we've already begun to look forward and we've recognized a need recurring already. Given the construction, I think it'll be minimal additional maintenance to what we already do and have currently budgeted.
Well, and that was exactly my idea, that once we got, if in fact we get approval from the board, that I would put the contractor in touch with you.
Absolutely.
And if Jill's fine with it, then help them wherever you can, but they're willing to pay for the whole project. The new poles, all the whatever. And they've even, the contractor has given them it's a price of about $80,000 to construct these four. But they'll be done right, and I think they'll last a long while, and they'll be a great, I think they'll be a great addition to the park.
Absolutely, for sure.
So I'll entertain a motion.
I think any time that we can promote recreational activity, it's a great thing to do. It appears that Commissioner Fithian has a proposed contract. I'd like to make a motion that the commissioners approve this project after legal review by the county attorney to make sure that we're covered liability-wise for any work that's done on county property, and to make sure that we're not violating any procurement policies. And I'm pretty confident that the contract's probably good, but we would like to have Tom.
And I would just suggest Dan look at it too, because I would probably defer to Dan on a number of things here.
can we just make sure the volleyball courts suit Jill's or somebody's?
I've been told that the using these adjustable poles, that you'll be able to play volleyball or beach tennis on there, and obviously we'll make sure that happens.
Right, that's my own concern.
Right, Jill could get confirmation of that.
Yeah, sure.
To accommodate both beach tennis
Right, you
and
can accommodate both,
volleyball.
I'm all for it.
And this contract is not, it's not with the county. The only thing the county's got involved in it is the location, obviously. It's on their property, plus whatever assistance Dan and his crew can give towards it. So I've got a motion. Do I have a second? Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We'll move forward, and here's a copy of this. I should leave here. Can you? And then Tom's going, I mean, the contract is between the foundation and the,
We just have to make sure that we have the proper indemnifications and insurance and all that to cover the county, since the construction's on our land. So Dan and I can take care of that, I
very
think.
good. Thank you all. Next up, we have, let me get, department, one of our appointments is Roland Shepard, Acting Director of Operations, and Steve Wallace, Captain of Kent County Detention Center, and they're here for FY 2025 Performance Incentive Grant Fund and Opioid Restitution Grant Funds.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning.
gentlemen.
As we mentioned, in 2019, Congress passed the House Bill 116, which mandates all correctional facilities to have a medication-assisted treatment program. So in 2022, we received the grant, the PI through GOCAP. It's the Performance Initiative Fund grant. Since that time, it's funded the doctor, the counseling, the medication, urine test. So to continue that, we applied for the FY 25 grant through GOCAP again, through the same PIGF fund. Thus far, we haven't heard nothing back. We check daily or every other day to see if we received it, so we can fund this to absorb no cost to the county. So second, we would like to apply for the opioid restoration fund grant in the event that we don't get the FY 25 grant as a backup. That way, the medication assisted treatment program will continue. The only difference is with the PIGF grant, we supply the data, invoices quarterly. With the opioid restoration fund, we supply the data and invoices monthly. That's pretty much the only difference. So that's what we're asking today, is to apply for the opioid restoration fund in the event that we don't get the FY 25 grant.
Were we told that we were going to receive the other?
I think we were just waiting.
Excuse me?
To receive back from them. And
We don't know.
We don't
But
know.
this is not the only grant that the county has applied for. It's the only one that the detention center has applied for through GOCAP this year, but it's not the only one the county has applied through. And we have, on the vast majority, we have received no communication to date on our applications. So I think that this is a really viable option to move forward as a backup plan. And more or less, the applications would mirror each other depending on what the requirements are of each application. And then we can accept whichever one, hopefully, we get
Look,
first.
I'm all for it. I was just wondering if, and I agree with it, but I was wondering if had been awarded this grant, why we haven't received it. But you're saying we have never received notice one way or the other?
No, we're still waiting on several grants. It's very befuddling, quite frankly, because we were told we were gonna have notification a long time ago. I too, I check the software at least once a week, seeing if anything is broken free. I don't know what's going on over there, but they're all.
No, but that's a good backup plan.
a great backup
I think
plan.
we.
Just for curiosity, do you have any idea what the overall cost is for what the mandate requires?
Well, we got a grant, they went for $250,000. that's what the grant's for, but, I mean, I would say 175 to 200,000 easy with the doctor, the counseling, the medication, the urine test.
That's what the annual cost is.
Correct, yeah.
Roughly.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Right,
I was just curious. I mean, I think it makes sense to have a backup plan, and we can decide later which grant, if they both come through, we'll decide which one's better for the county. So I don't really have any problems, so.
No, I think it's a good idea to
Yeah.
have a backup plan.
And I'm glad that you've taken the initiative to have a backup plan.
Of course.
Because
And if we get it, we'll certainly let everybody know, of course.
Yeah, but it's, like Ms. Ellis said, it's just it's a waiting game, and I think that we're getting close to that point to where we need to have an answer, like ASAP. Because like I said, we get, opioid users every day coming into the jail with everything from fentanyl to cocaine to amphetamines to every drug you can possibly name, all in one person at one time. So it's detrimental that we, the deceased find out what's going on while it's being held up. And we know these people need this help, so I think
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
From what I read prior to coming to the meeting, you have a deadline of next Friday for
This Friday.
this coming Friday.
It's coming Friday, yes, sir.
So I'd like to make a motion to submit an opioid restitution fund grant application to pay for the FY 2025 medication-assisted treatment initiative at the detention center in case the already submitted GOCCP grant application is denied funding.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Jill, one more thing, that contract, you don't have to come up, that contract is between this foundation and the contractor. If there's any questions about that portion, about the foundation, contact Chip McLeod at the McLeod Law Group. Okay. Pete Landon, Director of Operations, Director of Office of Emergency Services.
Good
morning. I've brought
I'm not
Brad
letting
Russum, our communications chief, with me as well.
Yes, welcome.
We have two projects before you. The first one is a radio equipment upgrade for our backup 911 center. This project's goal is to upgrade the emergency radio communication systems at the backup 911 center that's located at DPW complex on Morgan Neck Road. It was last upgraded in 2012, and it's at the point where it's no longer compatible or serviceable with radio equipment that's evolved in over 12 years. It's essential that we remain compatible with our surrounding neighbors as well as statewide and federal radio systems. Upgrading the center will ensure compatibility when the main 911 center on Vickers Drive is out of service for issues like plumbing, heating, or cooling repairs that we're all familiar with. My request before you is for two quotes that will be covered in the same project. The first quote is from Magnum Electronics. This quote allows the actual radio equipment needed for the upgrade. The equipment will be installed and maintained by Magnum Electronics. The second quote is from Daily Computers, and that is actually the computers that are needed to run the radios these days in that system. It was recommended by Magnum themselves that we purchase them separate through our IT department so that we could actually receive better funding, and we did so. The project as a whole will upgrade our currently outdated, no longer supported radio system at the backup 911 center. Magnum Electronics remains the sole source vendor for this project because they're the current installers and maintenance company for our county radio system and recognized the most appropriate vendor by the radio company, Motorola. The cost of the project was included and approved in our FY25 capital budget request during the budget workshops and hearing. The overall cost for these two components of the radio upgrade to the backup 911 center for Magnum Electronics is $199,774 for the radio equipment, and then $4,575 from Daily Computers for the IT equipment. So the total cost for the backup 911 center radio equipment is $2,349. And it's actually, if you recall, it's a significant cost savings from previous pitch versions of the project due to the hard work of my comms chief, Brad. I'm requesting that the quotes before you be considered for signature and approval in the form of a motion so that upgrading our backup 911 center can begin ensuring our compatibility and our ability to continue emergency operations if in fact our primary center becomes unavailable.
How soon do you think that, if this is approved, that you'll be fully operational with the more advanced?
I would say 6 months. It's all dependent on the supply chain and getting the equipment in once this is approved.
I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept quote number S0110024 from Magnum Electronics in the amount of $199,774, and quote SQ0493220 from Daily in the amount of $4,575 for a total of $204,349 for the upgrade to the backup 911 center radio equipment.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The second project is the 911 center phone update. And let me start by saying this is at no cost to Kent County.
That's a good lead.
Okay, you want this motion?
We actually requested and will receive funding from the Maryland 911 Board to update and upgrade the Carousel Industries vested emergency systems at the primary and backup 911 centers. They were actually last upgraded in 2018 by the 911 Board, who mandates the systems, and they actually state that they should be updated every 5 years just because of probably planned obsolescence. The one good thing about the upgrade with this, it'll include command post systems that will allow us to remotely use emergency calling, as well as a emergency call tracking reporting system, and full support of the system through
Somebody went out the side door. Emergency exit only.
Tried to go up the front.
We're all right now.
Thank you. Carousel Industries has been determined to be a sole source vendor for the upgrade and update of our existing 911 emergency telephone system using the Vesta system that's supported and funded by the 911 Board. Using Carousel allows statewide communications standards, compatibility with all other certified emergency communications entities. The upgrade does, like I said, encompass the installation of full Vesta positions at both our primary and backup 911 centers. It gives us 3 command center positions and the integration of the emergency call tracking system as well. And during the time that our backup system is being, our phone system is being updated, we didn't want the support for the current one that we have to run out, so that was included in our request to the 911 Board, which they are going to cover. The cost to upgrade and update, not to the county, for the primary and backup 911 center, including the command post phones and support. For the telephones and upgrade, it's $1,486,720.62, And then the annual support for the system is $102,781.55. And the total amount funded by the 911 board at no cost to the county will total $1,589,502.17. And I would request that the county commissioners accept the 911 board funding to upgrade and update our primary and backup 911 centers, emergency phone systems, including the command post phones and support for the same.
Now I know why you led off with no cost.
I didn't want you to have any
About
interje-
$1.5 million. That's,
We didn't want anybody to have a stroke.
yeah, right. That was not nice presentation. Any questions, gentlemen?
I'm confused. I'd like to make a motion to accept the Maryland 911 board funding to upgrade, update the primary and backup 911 center Vesta emergency phone system, including command post phones, and support the same by signing the project cost quote at no cost to Kent County citizens.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Mr. Russell, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller is the Director of Human Resources.
Good morning, everyone. Can I say something? Hey, Pete, before you leave, I just, while you guys are here, we all got to spend some time down to the Ag Center this weekend for the 4-H fair. And I wanted to, we appreciate you guys, your presence there. And I mean, fortunately, I don't think there were too many major issues. But I wanted to thank you guys for being there. And I also, before I forget, want to thank the IT department and Scott Boone. Last year, there were a lot of internet issues, and this year, it seemed, I think, I didn't get any phone calls or really major complaints, but I wanted to thank you guys for being there and thank IT for doing what they did. So,
Thank you.
And whoever's in charge of the property, because the property looked
Absolutely.
outstanding.
Absolutely.
It was a beautiful,
Yep.
The park looked better than I've ever seen.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
So kudos to everybody that has something to do with it.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
You know, you said there were no major issues, but
Well,
when Commissioner Fithian went to kiss the cow, he almost caused a stampede. That
What do you mean,
cow,
they all wanted me to kiss them? Is that what you're
no,
saying?
that cow took off when she saw you coming. She took off.
Well, I don't blame her too much, to tell you the truth. Mr. Miller, welcome.
I don't know, between Pete saving you or not costing you $1 million and the cow thing, this is kind of a hard act to follow.
Yes, it is.
Here this morning with one item for you, a request for approval for a conditional offer of employment for the grant program administrator position. You have all the details in your packet. Happy to answer any questions, but that's why I'm here.
You have any questions? No. You have any questions?
no, sir.
Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve a conditional offer of employment at the proposed salary to the recommended candidate for the position of grant program administrator.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Very
Thank you,
good.
gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a long while filling that
Hope-
position,
yeah,
and that's a
hopefully.
good sign.
About a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since former grant program person left, and once we got moving with it, it moved along really quickly. We had a really good pool of candidates and narrowed it down to an excellent one that you all just approved.
As always, I like the idea that we were able to find someone within the vicinity to go to work for us, and it was very good. When will this person start?
We'll notify the candidate today and make arrangements for the pre-employment, the background screening and all like that, I'd say within 2 weeks.
Good. Very good. Thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks, Jim.
Public Works Director, Mr. Dan Mattson.
Morning.
Good morning.
I have two items on today's agenda. The first of which is award of the contract for the FY25 Blacktop Paving Program. This is proposed to be a piggyback off of an existing Maryland Department of Transportation State Highway Administration contract. The roads that were selected for this year remain consistent with what was proposed during the budgeting sessions. Those include Camp Road, Dave's Hill Road, Mill Lane, Lee Avenue, and Kent Mill Drive. The total contract amount is $242,460. This is about 1% higher than was budgeted, $2,760 over what was budgeted. The cost increase relates to the time between our initial budgeting and estimating of the scope of work and today, slight increase in gas prices. But we propose to complete this via David A. Bramble under existing state contract and request your approval of the contract.
Any questions? Entertain a motion.
Well, I do have one question. I understand that the $2,700 is going to be absorbed from another.
Yes, I should have clarified that. Yes, we will use available budget within the patching funds.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a contract with David A. Bramble Incorporated for blacktop paving in the amount of $242,460 for paving Camp Road, Davis Hill Road, Mill Lane, Lee Avenue, and Kent Mill Drive, piggybacking under the conditions of an existing Maryland Department of Transportation State Highway Administration contract number XY9145177.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you. The second item I have today is purchase of a new dump truck for county roads. This was included in the FY25 budget. We propose to utilize an existing Department of Transportation contract for this purchase. It is slated to replace a 1999 dump truck that has over 228,000 miles on it. The total cost of this purchase is $185,688.08. That is about $1,800 less than what was budgeted for the year. So the net between the increase to the last on the last item in this is combined $950, but this one is $1,800 under budget. It's a 2025 dump truck, as I mentioned, under existing state contract, and we do anticipate delivery within FY25.
Dan, jog my memory now, didn't we get a request from the town of Chestertown for the old one?
Yes, they requested, if possible, two. There is one truck that would be available now, and upon delivery of the outstanding order we placed last year, we would have both available for them.
Whether you wanted to put that in the motion to purchase the new one and give the old one to the town of Chestertown, you might combine that in one motion.
Well, we're going to have two that are going to be available, right?
Yes, we will.
Are there any other towns that are made it?
We have not I don't believe we've reached out and actively requested of other towns.
Are the other towns aware that this might be
Right.
available?
Why don't we do the one that we're going to be able to release?
Sure.
You got one you're going to be able to get
We
rid
have
of
one
now.
available now.
That's available now.
Yes.
And then we'll hold on to the other one, and we'll put a request out to the rest of the towns to see if any one of them needs one, to be fair.
Absolutely.
But good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
All right.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract with Beltway International Trucks LLC for the purchase of a replacement 2025 International dump truck with equipment in the amount of $185,688.08. under the State of Maryland governmental procurement conditions of an existing MDOT SHA BPO number 001 B-Boy 4600261 to replace the 1999 International dump truck number LG 53362. And to also go ahead and offer the current dump truck that has been taken out of service to the town of Chestertown, and to notify the other incorporated towns in the county that we may have a second one if anyone's interested.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Before you leave,
Of course.
I mentioned something to you about a meeting or two ago about a gentleman that was having trouble getting a building permit out of, and I think you said maybe your deputy director might have been starting to handle some. Did we ever make contact with that gentleman or look into his problems?
Yes, the building permit, the stormwater aspect was approved. I do believe the permit has been issued.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Well, I told him when he called me, I said I called him back and told him that I'd been in touch with you and that you all were gonna work on it. And I said, if you don't have any success in a week or so, give me a call back. Well, I never heard back from him, so I assumed everything was moving forward, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Secondly,
Yes.
those two roads up Tilechester that I've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, I mean, we haven't done this for a while, but it's not new because we've done this. There was a bunch of those roads that were taken in at one point. There is some type of a release that we have to get from the homeowners that live on those streets.
Yes.
Notifying them, that something to the extent that county is considering doing some work on these two streets, bringing them up to code, and then eventually tar and chipping them. And we have to get them to sign off on it. Have you ever been able to find out anything like that was used in the past?
Yes, I reviewed some past examples as well as the county's road standards. There is to meet full county standards, the roads would need to be widened and treated with tar and chip, as you mentioned. The way these standards are written, the residents have the burden of bringing it to county standards prior to adoption unless specifically waived by county commissioners.
Right.
And then
My only reason for asking, because of this release, if you couldn't find one that was used in the past, I was gonna talk to Tom about coming up with a new one that might spell out, do what we need to have done. Because I do know, if my memory serves me, you gotta have 100% of the people approve it. And if not, it can't be done, so.
Right.
I mean, I don't know why they would, especially on Ohio, the road Ohio, because every time it rains, I get a call about
The challenge maybe is just getting a hold of the property owners in case there's some that aren't in the area, that aren't local, just trying to locate them, or if there's a unimproved lot.
I think planning office could probably help you identify the people that live on it anyhow, but I was just curious about that.
Yeah, because there's really, when we talk about a road, there's really two different scopes of what a road is. There's the actual blacktop, and that we could either require be upgraded to county standards prior to adoption, or we could accept it as is and adopt, or we could improve via county funding and equipment.
Dan, if I could just jump in here, my understanding is that, just having reviewed the plats on numerous occasions back there, what is the travel portion of that road is only a portion of the platted road, because those roads were platted, I think, at 60 feet. They're pretty wide across. So it would seem to me that this is a wonderful improvement, that the property owners would want this. The only caveat I have is because the roads are platted at 60 feet, and the travel portion is probably 10 to 20 feet.
10 to 12, yes.
10 to 12, a lot of property owners have treated some of that as their yard, so there may be some resistance there. But for our standards, it would seem to me that we would need, even if we're not going to pave more than 12 feet, we would probably want to take more than 12 feet because we would need that for maintenance and safety and routine work.
Exactly the next point I was going to make. Yes, this road would qualify for a 40-foot right-of-way, so 20 foot off of the center line in both directions. There are some mailboxes and things in that right-of-way, and we would need to sort out exactly whether those are to remain.
The only reason for the reason that they have, the problem they have with it is when it rains, they get it's full of potholes and stuff, and then at one road, it's hard to even get up and down it because of the potholes and stuff. I'm not looking to walk, as long as we have the right of way on paper, I think that just tar and chip it, whatever they're using now, as long as we have a right of way, whether we use it or not is,
Yeah, I think it's 60 feet, and then isn't the community association the owner? Because there was a plat in the
well,
developer.
they're the ones come in here and requested it.
Yeah, and so I think they would have, if the community association has the authority to transfer it to us, you wouldn't necessarily need the property owners on paper. However, if the property owners are occupying some of that right-of-way and treating it as their own land, my recommendation is, so we don't have problems in the future, to say that the conveyance from the community association isn't valid or there's defects in it, that we get those property owners, as we discussed earlier, to be on board with it and to sign over, as well as the community association.
Anyhow, just my only reason for bringing it up, I know you're working on it, and we'll get to it one of these days, but if you were having trouble with the old release from the property owners, we would maybe talk to Tom about putting together a new one, but obviously you've got your hands on that.
Yes.
Thank you.
The question I would have on that item, which you may not be in a position or interested in answering at this time, would be whether we would accept the roads as is or require either the community association to make improvements or for them to pay the county for the improvements that the standards would say required versus allowing them to be adopted as is. And I could understand if you would prefer to make that decision with a cost estimate in front of you, which I can prepare.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
All right.
So what you're gonna prepare is the existing road without any widening of it, just what it would cost to go ahead and tar and chip.
And I think you gave us an estimate one time that both of these roads would be about a $50,000. I think I remember you bringing that estimate in here when you looked at it one time.
I would double check that before I confirm that to you, but that sounds about right. And yes, I could bring options in terms of to clean up what's there, holding the existing limits of the road as option A, option B being to make it a full true width county road, which I think would likely be less preferable to the residents given, the proximity of some of the improvements they've made near the road. I can present different options to the commissioners and seek a decision as to how
Well,
we would
we had the Towchester Community Association come with not this Board of Commissioners, but the Board of Commissioners prior to this one, and made this request. And it's been going on.
Sure.
Obviously, it would be nice. There's a lot of people live down there that this would be a nice addition or to that area, and they requested it. And if it's something we could pull off, I thought it would be a nice gesture. So just keep working on it, and then when you get ready, come in before us, and we'll determine how to move forward.
Dan, one final question for you. For county roads that are in residential areas like this, what is the typical width of the pavement that we have on these?
I believe it's at least 20 feet.
Okay.
20 to 24, somewhere in that range. I would need to confirm that.
And what do we think this one is now?
12 to 14.
I would think that the Virginia is wider than that.
I can,
Ohio might be what you're talking about, but Virginia is really it's not a bad road, right? I mean, it's pretty wide.
sure.
It even caught my attention of how wide it is. I mean, it's
Okay.
much wider than most. So the Ohio now, which is the more troublesome road that you have trouble getting up and down, that one might only be 12 foot. I don't know.
Sure.
But Virginia, I almost think you could go in there and tar and chip it tomorrow. I think it's in that good shape, but the other ones are more troublesome. But it kind of, one goes, you go down one, you go around a corner, you come back up the other one. They join one another. Anyhow, just, when you get ready, we'll take a look at it.
Yeah, what I was getting at, is there a way to get it to what we would have as a minimum for a county road, but without any disruption
Right.
to what the property owners have? So they'd get a good road, but they wouldn't be disrupted or have to move what they have in the right-of-way.
Sure. And I can offer as well as an update that the ditch cleanup at Spring Cove will begin Thursday.
Oh, good.
And we'll be working with Rock Hall's Public Works as well to complete that project.
Very good.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And
Thank you.
thanks for coming in.
Of course.
Before we forget, Shelley, could we get the minutes? Remember some meetings ago, we were all just talking about it earlier. We had a couple of fire chiefs come in here and asked for us to consider some different ways we could probably help to encourage volunteers. I don't remember what those requests were complete. And one of them was dealing with property taxes. Now, there was, if I'm not mistaken, there was like four or so different things that they brought up. If we could search them in the minutes and find out what they were, so the three of us and yourself could all discuss it, and just, we allowed them to talk, and they made these requests, but we've never followed up on it. And we ought to discuss it and see what we can do and what we can't do.
Sure, not a problem.
Thank you.
And they also had a presentation of PowerPoint, so we can pull that up.
They did, that's true. And one question, and maybe you can, Bill's here. Where are we with their Airbnb issue, where we were enacting this legislation to start?
Okay, so where we are right now, we have chosen, at this point, the decision was to not regulate so much as identify and tax. So that's where we are right now. I believe the software is almost ready to go live, and we'll be accepting our first payments August 11th or 12th, somewhere in that time frame.
Okay.
For July. We'll be collecting monthly, and it'll be live so that we're ready to go by August to collect July payments.
Very good.
But the
I
decision-
I didn't know where, I knew we had talked about, it seemed like to me it's something about trying to get something straight by July, and I just didn't, but evidently the software's in place.
If it's not fully in place, it's really close. Pat and Jamie have both been meeting with the software company on an extremely regular basis, getting training, understanding how it works. And
Like you say, the main issue that we're driving for now is to identify these places and make sure that they're paying the proper
Correct,
hotel tax.
correct.
Lodging tax.
That's right.
Okay, that was easy. All right. You're up, Shelley.
Okay, I have two board appointment recommendations for you. The first is with the Kent County Department of Social Services Advisory Board. Ms. Neil Edwards has made a recommendation for a candidate to fill a 3-year term that is currently vacant.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommended candidate to fill the Social Services Advisory Board vacancy for 3-year term.
Second.
And I have a second. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
And secondly, we have a trustee from the Public Library Board that has relocated and is unable to fulfill the remainder of the term. And so the Board of Trustees with the library has put forward a nomination to fill the vacancy for your consideration.
Any questions? Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommended candidate to fill the library trustee's vacancy for a 5-year term ending December 31st, 2029.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Very good.
And then included in your packet for your review are the letters that have been submitted in support of the Town of Millington's water capacity preliminary engineering study, water sewer rate allocation fee study, and preparation of water sewer standard specifications. And they are requesting money from the Rural Maryland Economic Development Funds for those projects. So
That
that's just.
$250,000 we had, which we had already allocated for this project.
Correct, yeah, that's
to
just an
start with.
FYI.
I got you. Okay, you don't need any action on that.
Correct, nope, no action.
Then we have our Kent Alcohol and Tobacco Enforcement Officer, Miss Bonnie S. Pearsall.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
The first thing on the agenda is the FY 2024 quarterly report. I conducted 57 routine alcohol inspections for the quarter of April, May, and June. I also continue to do visits with the alcohol establishments with educational materials to help them, have tools and stuff so they stay in compliance. I also conducted 18 educational compliance checks with mystery shoppers where they go in. It's a no harm, no foul. They're of age 21 to 27 and a half years old, just to see if they're asking for ID from their patrons. If they do pass, they get they used to be green cards. We just ordered new cards. Now they're all white, but they have different sayings. If they don't comply, I go in and talk with them and give them educational stuff to help them to make sure they're complying with that. The Kate team is also still looking for responsible 18 to 20 and a half year olds to help with tobacco compliance checks on tobacco retailers. We're also looking for 21 to 27 and a half year olds to help out with our mystery shoppers, which is just an educational compliance check. The next thing on the agenda is our 21 or none tobacco campaign. I conducted the third and final round of our tobacco compliance checks for FY 2024 during the month of June. 28 establishments were compliant. I had one that was non-compliant. A citation was issued to this establishment that went along with a $300 fine. The establishments that, if they are in non-compliance, I have to go back and recheck that within 30 to 60 days after their infraction. A letter addressed to the establishments for non-compliance is attached for your review and signature. We also put in an advertisement in the Tidewater, or it will be going into the Tidewater Trader, congratulating the establishments for compliance instead of the original letters and certificates. We thought this would be a little bit different, just to boost their morale, to stay in compliance. I think that's it for that one. The next one is the MOU between the Health Department. They awarded a grant again this year to help out with the tobacco education and enforcement. So the letter or the MOU is for you to look at and sign for the Health Department for the educational and compliance checks. I think they awarded $30,000 this year, a grant to help out with that. Any questions?
No, not for me. John, Albert?
Good.
Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve and sign the memorandum of understanding with the Kent County Health Department for tobacco education and enforcement.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Thank you.
Bill, you're on the agenda here for documents for signature, but I assume that's been,
It's just a follow-up from an item you approved earlier.
I think we're signed, I think I signed them earlier, so they're done.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Time for, this is John Massey's time on the agenda, is it? This is public comment. How we doing, John? All right?
We're doing all right.
Okay. Good. If nobody else, there's no public comments, we have no closed session, so I guess we're down to Albert's turn.
We'll do, how about we do a motion to adjourn?
Got a motion
I'll second.
and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you all.